Misplaced concern. SC should not allow outrage industry to shape moves to tighten OTT content regulation. So SC here it refers to the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court it should not allow the outrage industry or the rage industry or the anger in the current industries to shape the moves to tighten OTT content regulation. So basically, Supreme Court should not be influenced or affected by several outrages of various industries, and it should not cause as the Supreme Court to create some new laws to tighten the regulation or to tighten the rules and restrictions of the OTT platforms. An OTT platform are like the platforms like Netflix, Hotstar, Amazon Prime Video, AHA, and so on. It is a matter of concern that the Supreme Court chose to convert a routine hearing on a petition for anticipatory bail from an executive of an Amazon Prime Video into an occasion to call for tightening the regulatory norms for over-the-top streaming services in the country. So it is a matter of concern. Means it's something that as the citizens of India, it's something that we need to concern about. We need to think about that the Supreme Court chose to convert a routine hearing on a petition. So here the case which the Supreme Court has right now with the OTTs is a case which involves routine hearings uh, which involves routine hearings for anticipatory bail from an executive of the Amazon Prime Video. So this case on the Amazon Prime Video OTT, which was supposed to be handled by routine hearings, it is now converted by the Supreme Court of India um, into an occasion to call for the tightening of regulatory norms for over the top streaming services in the country. So this case, which started with the Amazon Prime Video, which was actually only a routine hearing case, it now it now caused the creation or the new creation or the new introduction of the new laws for the OTTs. Aparna Purohit, India commercial head of the content streaming platform, sought advance bail after the Allahabad High Court denied her the relief with a sweeping declaration that some offending scenes on new series now deleted constituted punishable of offences. So Aparna Purohit, he is the commercial. Now he's like the head of all the streaming services, and he takes care of all of those. And what actually happened is that on the streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, or anything, um, especially on Amazon Prime Video, there are some obscene scenes on the scenes that should not be given to the public, or the scenes that are not just appropriate, or scenes like that. So those types of scenes are now deleted from the OTTs, because of keeping them of, and because of keeping them placed in the OTTs like Netflix and so on before the government removed them. So because of that, new rules are introduced to the OTTs. And not only that, these scenes which were constituted in these OTTs were also punishable. Accused of hurting religious sentiments by allowing the streaming of Tandav, Mrs. Purohit did get protection from arrest. But what is disconcerting is that the court went through the recently notified rules for digital media and intermediaries and observed that these lacked teeth. Um, so, as I said, the reason why the court made the new laws for the regulation of the OTTs is because several OTTs had some specific scenes which are obscene to be shown for the public. And one such stream is Tandav. So by making Tandav free to public, it has hurt several people's religious beliefs and followings. So Mrs. Purohit, she could be arrested, but she fortunately got protection from her arrest. It is quite unusual and in fact gratuitous that A constitutional court should push for the most stringent rules after finding that the Information Technology Guidelines Rules 2021 did not provide for punishment and fine. So it is quite. First I'll be saying what actually happened. So as I said, these obscene films were seen in some of the OTT platforms, like for example, Tandav. So these are punishable, but what the court did here is that the court decided these are not actually punishable. Sorry, these are not punishable, but the court decided to punish them. Even though the court has gone through several software rules and regulations recently, as we read about in the recent tutorials, the court it has went to the rules and regulations of several software medias, and it has come up with several new laws. But in the case of the OTTs, according to the law of the Technology and Information Act, in 2000, rules 2001, it says that no punishment or no fines will be taken on the OTT platforms in these cases, even though the court it has tightened, or it has made the rules more strict. So this is quite gratuitous, means this is not necessary. The court's very approach is the way of line. The new rules are essentially restrictions on free speech and expression through digital media. Courts generally examine the validity of such curbs on free speech and decide whether they are reasonable or too restrictive. So, in these cases, the courts usually what they do is that after making the laws or the amendments which they want to, they examine that for some time, and they observe it whether to see whether if it's too tight, like if the restrictions or the rules or laws are too high or too tight, or if they're not or whether if they're not at all producing any effect on the working of the OTT. It is unusual that the apex court should seek to go beyond what the executive describes as soft touch monitoring and press for inclusion of punishment clauses. So the punishment, if you would call it, for this OTT situation is just soft touch monitoring, means giving them a warning, and if they don't follow it, then serious action will be taken. But the Supreme Court of India has done is that it has pressed for inclusion of punishment clauses. So without any initiatives, its first initiative was punishment. The court seems to be concerned about the obscenity and uncensored content on streaming services, the ostensible reason for its incursion into regulatory territory when there was no challenge to the new rules before it. When the matter is taken up again, the court should bestow attention on the High Court order that gave rise to the proceedings, an order that shows extraordinary zeal to protect religious sentiment. While refusing while refusing pre-arrest bail, the High Court has made an unusual claim that the title Tandav itself could hurt the sentiments of majority Indians because it was associated with Lord Shiva. So coming back to Amazon Prime Video, Tandav, the streaming episodes of Tandav, it has hurt it has hurt the feelings of many people, especially Indians and also especially Hindus, as it is related with the Indian god Lord Shiva. It has observed that alluding to Lord Ram gaining popularity on social media is a reference to Ayodhya dispute and therefore offensive. So another situation is that on the streaming services, on some of them, um, Ram Lord Ram many references were given to Ram Lord, and in some way, this could mean that in the Ayodhya case, the case which has been continuing for more than a decade, it is now it is currently settled. So this so all these references to Lord Ram in the several OTTs could be offensive to the Ayodhya case. It has a sweeping claim that the Hindi film industry, in contrast to its southern counterparts, was generally disrespectful in the Hindu religion. It would